Hi Scorpio, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and descendant sign. So whether you're sun, moon or rising sign Scorpio, this is for you. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear, concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. My apologies that these are late. It's been all right, so let's get into it. Doing things slightly differently this week, and hopefully we should be resuming as of next week. So for your actions and options, you have the 9 of Swords. Try not to hype things up this week, all right? Whatever arises, that's not to say that the challenge isn't there, or that or even that the threat isn't real. But this week there could be a tendency to hype things up in your mind or to make it worse than it actually is. Now the other thing with the 9 of Swords, because this is what you're choosing, right? Your actions and options, this is what you do, and you've got the 9 of Swords. Scorpio, your reputation doth precede thee, and the message here is you don't need to use a flamethrower to put a nail in a wall, all right? The message is you don't have to burn everything down for the sake of, do you know what I mean? Like this, whatever arises this week, the challenge is real. The threat, and I hope it's not a threat, but the threat is real. But it kind of feels like your reaction may be disproportionate to whatever it is that happens this week. So this would be one of those times where taking a moment to go, okay, I got many tools in my bag. Which one is the right one for this? Rather than just reaching in for the AK-47 and do you know what I mean? Like, just this is a week where you really want to be conscious of your reaction to things. So if you can take a moment, then that way you'll be able to respond to whatever comes up this week. For your communications and conversations, you have your card as the Death card. So this week it does look like you are breaking ties with something or someone. Now, because it comes up with the 9 of Swords as well, there's an element here that suggests that this is something that you maybe have tried to save. This could be a friendship, it could be a relationship with a peer, it could be with a sibling. Like, it's a relationship that you genuinely care for, it's a connection that you genuinely care for, but it's like, you know, in your heart and your mind and your soul that it's done, and it's like, I've done everything that I could to save this connection, and unfortunately that's just not enough. And it's like, you've reached a point now, I think this week is going to highlight to you, where you're like, yeah, you know what, I've done everything that I can to save this. It's obviously not meant to carry forward. And it may be because you come to the realization that the other person maybe isn't even aware that you've been trying to save the connection. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a real strong sense here that you are going to put, and it's like, on the other side, and maybe this is where the annoyance comes in, on the other side there may be disbelief, or, oh, well, you should have said something. And it's like, no, I've been saying something through my actions up until now. Scorpios don't really say a lot. They tend to, it's like, I say what I mean what I say, but outside of that, my actions speak for themselves. And I think this week it's kind of like you're pulling back from something. When it comes to for those of you that work for somebody else, again, this could literally be you saying, you know what, I'm out, I'm done. This job, this environment, these work people, this toxic environment, the office politics, whatever it is, it no longer works for me and I'm not doing it anymore. So this could be a week where, maybe it's the week where you make the decision. Maybe this is the week where you hand your notice in. Maybe this is the week where you decide, yeah, you know what, I think this place or this organization has taken me as far as it's going to. For those of you that work for yourselves, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like this is a lot of you going from here to here. And you know what happens there is effectively who we were, that person comes to a close, that part of us ends. So let's say you transition, as an example. So at the moment I'm going through the process of going into more of the teaching role than the reading role. So you know the role of the reader, or the aspect of you that was, kind of dies off, right? And you start stepping more into the other aspects of who you are. And I think on that level, for those of you that work for yourselves, there is very much that kind of metamorphosis, or what Scorpio are known for, transformation, that's taking place. But that's the level that it's taking place on, you know, within the career. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, this would be a really good week for you to discover what you want the rest of your summers to be. I kind of started saying that when I was about 24, 25. I don't know how many summers I've got left, but I want to make sure I enjoy the ones that I do. This is you coming into that realization, maybe where you've wasted time, maybe where you feel like you're wasting time at the moment. Remember, don't hype it up. Don't go in there and, you know, make it ain't it awful. Just acknowledge and make a plan for moving forward. For your money and materials, you've got the Wheel of Fortune. Oh yeah. Now, coupled with the Death card, yes, it has some other harsher sort of connotations, but Scorpio has this kind of magnetic polarity about it. And so with the Wheel of Fortune in your money sector, this could actually be a really great week for finances. It's kind of like maybe you're not noticing how much the money's stacking up, or the money is how well the money's doing, because you're so focused on everything else and pulled in other directions. But either which way, this looks good for your finances. What I can tell you when it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Wheel of Fortune is a great card for health and vitality. However, because it is Jupiter ruled, coupled with this Nine of Swords this week, and this isn't to discount anybody that, you know, has a genuine issue, but this week a lot of psychosomatic symptoms could show up. So the more you're in here stressing, and the more your body's going to feel the brunt of it, more so than ever before. So pay attention to that this week, because how the mind is and the quality of the thought is going to is going to really start expressing itself through the body. When it comes to your home and environment, it does look like there is travel on the horizon for you guys, but it won't be this week. It looks like whatever trip were going to take this week, there's going to be some obstacle that comes up that will need to be looked at immediately before you can go on this trip. So it will happen, it's just not going to be this week. For your love and relations, you have the High Priestess. Okay, so High Priestess coupled with the Death card, very rare combination, but whenever we see this combination, that is mediumship. So if you've ever thought of seeing a medium, speaking to a medium, having a session with one, if maybe a friend has always said to you, you know, I go to this person, this is the person that I always see, this would be the week to check them out. You could get answers this week, messages this week that, you know, the psychic energy that surrounds you and possibly the psychics that you go to this week could be very, very powerful. So if you're into any of that kind of thing, this would be a week to go for a reading for sure. Now, for those of you that are single, this could be a week where a secret admirer is revealed to you. And you could be like, what? Like who? Who likes me? Who wants to take me on a date? It could be very fun. It could be very exciting, but it could also be very, very surprising for you as well. It's like you have no idea. For those of you that are in partnerships or in relationships as well, there's something about the familial ties this week that comes up that you guys are going to need to look at together. One of you on one side of the in-laws sort of energies, there's going to be assistance. Assistance will be needed, and this week I kind of feel like you will be called upon as a couple. Now, because you've got the High Priestess here in the lover's sphere, it does suggest it's going to be on the woman's side or the mother's side. That's, you know, likely to be where the news or the assistance is asked for. And also the other thing with the High Priestess, she can often reveal or speak to where something needs to be regenerated, refreshed, or renewed. Remember, the High Priestess is intact. She's completely pure. And so this kind of tells me, those of you that are in relationships, what is it that you need to do to press the reset button on the relationship? Not to scrap it and start again, but what can you do to reinvigorate or, you know, breathe new life into it? How can you purify it? Whether this is having that conversation to clear the air, whether it is, you know, saying, yes, you know what, I'm going to forgive and forget. You know, there's something there that needs to be observed. For your Human Design Oracle card, you have the Gate 30 and Holding with the Eagle. So this, for me, this card very much talks about going after what is really important, grabbing onto it and holding onto it for dear life. This week, I think more than anything, Scorpios, it's about getting that clarity that you're known for. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.